not actually that bad of an album.
Thanks, dude.
You're welcome, my pet.
Well, don't get me wrong here. It does have some pretty noticeable faults, but on the whole, it isn't actually an incompetent piece of music. And compared to its predecessor, it's a gold-plated, jewel-encrusted gift from the heavens. Oh my god, fuck Raditude. Fuck Raditude! Fuck Raditude!
No! No. No. No, it's gone. It's gone. It's dead. I made sure of that.
Yeah, Raditude really didn't do the band any favors. The response to that album was lukewarm?
To say the fucking least!
Their attempt to make a mainstream album to help recoup sales backfired spectacularly. They didn't win much of a new audience and ended up alienating a lot of their old guard in the process. Not to mention that after Raditude tanked, the band was dropped by longtime and they were sort of adrift for a while. For a very brief period, it almost looked like Raditude was going to be this band's swan song.
Sweet titty fucks from Christ, could you imagine if Raditude was Weezer's swan song?
But eventually the band was able to sign on to independent label Epitaph, home to some pretty kick-ass artists, and they announced that they were going to be releasing their next album through them.
And ultimately, I think the shift in label actually did help them here. I mean, the last album just reeked of over-polish.
Amongst several other things.
Raditude simply stunk of all the worst qualities of major label productions. So for them to move to Epitaph, a hard-rocking independent punk label, yeah, you better believe I'm all for that. Hell, I think it was a very good move on their part. Though granted, I am kind of an Epitaph fanboy, as you can probably tell. You like this tattoo, by the way? That's new. Process of belief is an addiction when you're weak.
I must confess at times I indulge it on the sneak.
And Rivers even stated during the pre-production phase that there was gonna be more raw rock energy on this one. But even with these positive developments, there were still a number of warning signs leading up to this one. For one, the album, like its predecessor, was released immediately the following year, Raditude in 2009, Hurley in 2010. Hell, this album actually took less time to make than Raditude, clocking in at just 11 months.
No, but really, what was it with that whole album per year thing the band was doing in the late 2000s? I've tried researching this and I can't find any good reason for it. Why? Who asked for that? Was anyone seriously asking them for an album a year? Who the... I'd have figured if the lull between Pinkerton and the Green album would have taught the band anything at all, it would have been that Weezer fans are a patient bunch.
I mean, back in like the 60s or 70s, releasing a new album every 6 to 9 months was no big deal, but even with the music industry's rapid economic decline over the past 15 years, it still takes a decent amount of time to make a quality album. Unless your sound is deliberately lo-fi or simplistic, you need to spend a lot of time in pre-production, in the studio, post-production, writing, composing, mixing, recording, re-recording, organizing studio musicians if you're going to use them, working with your producer, engineer, and mixer to fine-tune the sound until it's absolutely as pristine as it's gonna get.
And let's not forget about touring!
When recording a new album, more than likely a band has either just gotten off the road and is exhausted from the tour, has an upcoming tour plan so a hard deadline is crawling up fast, or in some cases they're trying to record the album as they're touring.
What are we doing now?
Internet.
The advent of Pro Tools and the vast improvements made upon recording technology have made making new music on the road a much more feasible possibility. So even when you're jet-lagged and burned out between shows, your tour manager might stick a red-hot poker up your ass, shove a MacBook in your face, and tell you to hammer out a solo for the song by the time we get to Providence, or the label is going to serve your balls of sushi at the next Grammy after-party. Oh, and somewhere in there, you've got to fit in your personal life, time for your family, yada 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 yada.
I'm just saying, how in the hell are you supposed to expect all of that in 11 freaking months? The Weezer guys are great musicians, but they're still freaking human.
Oh hey, and speaking of hiring studio musicians, yet again we have professional songwriters brought into the studio to write music and lyrics for the band. In fact, there are professional songwriters on every single track, save for 2. But guys, here's the thing. Remember in the last episode where I went on that long ramble about how pro songwriters aren't the worst thing in the world, and if you get the right people in there, you can actually create some good work? Well, here we have a much better example of this.
Still not exactly perfect by any means, but much better than the motherfuckers who gave us this.
Oh, I think they like you. I think they like you. And all she eat is dick. She's on a strict diet.
We can only go up from here.
There's actually some real talent writing for this album, like Dan Wilson, former Semisonic frontman who's written Grammy-winning songs for artists like Adele and Dixie Chicks, Desmond Child, a Songwriter Hall of Fame inductee that's written at least half a dozen songs you've heard of, I Was Made for Lovin' You by Kiss, You Give Love a Bad Name, Livin' on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, Crazy, Angel, Dude Looks Like a Lady for Aerosmith. The guy's list goes on and on. I promise, if you don't know the name, you've at least heard the song.
Yeah, I'll admit there's some weapons-grade cheese on that list, but at least the guy knows how to write a catchy song, a catchy rock song, no less. Though he also wrote She Bangs by Ricky Martin, so...
She looks like a flower, but she stings like a bee. Like every girl in history.
Every girl in history? Dude, have you seen some of the women who've walked this planet? I'm just saying, Courtney Love probably smells like the exact opposite of a flower.
The album also contains writing credits from notable musicians as well, such as singer-songwriter Ryan Adams, Tony Kanal from No Doubt, and Linda Perry, whom some of you older folks out there might recognize from this song.
Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah.
Fix that.
Thank you. Anyway, the songwriters on this album do a much better job of writing songs for Weezer with Weezer's style in mind as opposed to their own. Hell, if you'd have told me there wasn't any outside help on this record, I'd almost believe you. And for the most part, the lyrics aren't really that bad on this album either.
Let's go ahead and start the review out by illustrating everything that Hurley does right.
For one, the album does have a very straightforward Weezer sound. There really isn't a lot of experimentation or goofy humor on this one.
Though I hate to say something like that as a point in the album's favor.
But no, I have to admit, Weezer did right by us in this respect. The Red Album was a good time to experiment, even though Make Believe spawned several hits. For some baffling reason, there were many fans that hated the phoned-in, lazy sound of that album, so mixing things up there was a good way to lure people back into the fold. But when Raditude boomed the way it did, they realized they didn't have the elbow room to fuck around anymore. They needed something safe, something familiar, something that helped remind us that the Weezer sound we all knew and loved hadn't been drawn, quartered, and buried somewhere in Jackknife Lee's backyard.
But despite all the negative things I've said about Weezer's music over the past few episodes, there is one thing that I can totally give them credit for across every single release. And that is, at least they know when they've fucked up. At least they're cognizant of their mistakes. They realize when something doesn't work, and they try to change it. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worst, but they know when they fuck up. Maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me guys, there's some bands that totally don't.
This album does feel like Weezer is trying to make good music again, as opposed to profitable music. And that is a welcome thing to see, believe me. Like on Dan Wilson's track, Ruling Me, for instance. Just listen to Pat Wilson blasting away on those drums.
Yeah, that's another thing. Patrick Wilson plays drums on every single track.
The guitar work is nice and forceful. It chugs along powerfully all throughout. The bass is deep, chunky, and booming, and the vocal harmonies and layering add a lot to the high end of the song. It's a solidly written and performed track. Props. The same thing goes for Unspoken, one of the Rivers Only songs. It's a jangly little acoustic ditty that starts off humble and small, and over time more instrumentation is added, flutes, string work, etc., until it climaxes big with the entire band coming in to end things on a grandiose note. It's a really solid rock ballad. Also props. Even on Hang On, we see a lot of really outstanding musical composition. The synths are lofty and exclamatory, the beat is hard driving but steady enough to keep the song on the rails. You know how I'm always wailing about mid-tempo slosh? Well, this is a song that actually gets mid-tempo right. Also props.
Oh, and fun fact, that's actually Michael Cera on background vocals and ukulele. I'm not kidding. That's him. Who'd have thought, eh?
And Brave New World has some excellent lead guitar accentuation and some nice cymbal work from Patrick lacing the chorus. Again, it's a song with a lot of energy and force behind it. Also...
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Yeah, that joke got old 2 alsos ago. Sorry, I'll stop.
Get on with it!
In fact, I'd say this record overall is probably one of the most powerful sounding Weezer releases we've gotten from them since Maladroit, in my opinion. From a strictly sonic sense, this album gets it right on almost every track. It rarely loses momentum, and the music itself is catchy enough to at least get your attention. I mean, hell, I can sit down, push play on the first track of this album, and not feel like I have to skip every other track. God knows there are some albums we can't do that with, huh? And I have to give the album credit where it's due. I can understand, though, that some people might have issue with the sound on this album. Like I said, it's competent, but it's not their most flashy or even their most interesting sound. Though when compared to Raditude, god damn does this album hold up well. Jesus fuck Christ shit!
And guys, yes, okay, I hate that I have to constantly go back and compare this thing to its predecessor. But after hearing shit like tripping down the freeway in the mall, can't stop partying, it was just nice to know that Weezer was still in there somewhere, that they hadn't completely died out on us. Yes, this album has plenty of flaws, but in the land of stupid children, the boy with a C+ is king.
Actually, though, before we move on, I will say that there is one song on this album that is genuinely exceptional, even when held up beside the best pieces of their catalog. A song that doesn't need to stand next to Failure in order to rate gorgeous. And weirdly enough, it's another one of my all-time personal favorites. That song? Trainwrecks.
Actually, given the song's lyrical content, I'm not 100% sure what that says about me. But it's still a kick-ass little tune.
This is the song that Weezer wrote with Desmond Child, and no joke, this is probably in my top 3 favorite Weezer songs of all time.
Oh god, I'll probably have to make that into an episode 2 someday, huh?
Everything about this song just hits the right chord for me. The piano, keyboard, and orchestral flourishes are all perfectly placed and excellently layered to help provide the color and vibrance the song needs to effectively deliver its tone. The bass drives the track with Schreiner's rhythmic and perfectly timed striking, laying the perfect foundation for an anthematic, crowd-pleasing, show-closing powerhouse of a tune. At least it would be if they ever played it live. And the lyrics are so goddamn endearing, thoughtful, and genuine. It just hits me right in the pocket of my flinty, black, cholesterol-stuffed heart. It's downright stunning.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. And I don't think a lot of you guys are gonna like it. In fact, I can barely believe we're even gonna open this can of worms again. But this is the song that Beverly Hills should have been.
While sonically the songs are vastly different, with this one actually being good, they do share somewhat of a narrative theme. They're both songs about down-on-their-luck nobodies that wish for greater things, but ultimately they're kinda their own worst enemies, and their dreams are probably more than a ways out of their reach, realistically.
Thematically similar? Yes. But the big difference between these two songs can be summarized in 4 words. Tone, tone, fucking tone.
The tone of Beverly Hills is so defeatist, downtrodden. There isn't a ray of hope at the end of that tunnel.
And before you even reach for your keyboards, no, Beverly Hills is not satire. Not good satire, at least.
I mean, okay, yeah, we're not supposed to take it too seriously, but it's still not satire. Partially because of the little fact that the guys in the band have literally said as much. And partially because most satire, not all, but most satire needs some kind of punchline. There needs to be a joke, or at the very least something we can actively point to and mock. The British actually have a wonderful saying for this kind of thing.
Take the piss out.
And Beverly Hills doesn't take the piss out of anything. It doesn't have any kind of punchline. It's not mocking celebrity culture. It never says or hints that there's anything negative about it, even in a tongue-in-cheeky kind of sense.
Look at all those movie stars, they're all so beautiful and clean. When the housemates rub the floors, they get the spaces in between.
Where's the joke?
Sir, we're on the air.
I know we're on the air, but where's the joke?
Oh, so movie stars are generally attractive and can afford professional housekeeping? Sick burn, bro!
I just stabbed a bitch.
You stabbed her?
I stab her. I stab her with my dick.
Big whoop. Guys, I would have killed for a housekeeper at the end of the last episode. Hell, I would have settled for a fire extinguisher. Okay, but if Beverly Hills is strictly satire, then what's the thing we're mocking? What is the thing that we are actively pointing to and taking the piss out of? What is the thing that we want society to reflect on in disdain? Really? Oh gee, movie stars sure are rich and glamorous and they have exotic lives and wonderful adventures. Too bad I'm such a nerd boy spaz, and I could never hope to even come close to the things that they do with their lives. Oh, Icarus, retreat from thy hubris. Oh, may as well just shirk off my dreams, my hopes, my goals, and just learn to live with my emotional despair, and just build my own little shelter in my own emotional despondency and psychological dilapidation. LOL. Again, though, I seriously want to stress this. If you can find that be content with who you are message, or just any positive message in Beverly Hills, good on ya. I'm not going to knock you for it. Seriously. But all I'm trying to say is that Trainwrecks evokes this particular message much, much more effectively.
The tone of Beverly Hills, at least to me, is dour, depressing, hopeless. Whereas this song is so much more invigorating and optimistic. The singer of Beverly Hills never gives himself any goddamn credit. All he does is insult himself.
My fashion sense is a little whack. Why should they? I ain't nobody. Truth is, I don't stand a chance, and I just don't belong. I'm just a no-class beat-down fool.
Come on, cheer up, emo kid. On Trainwrecks, though, our protagonist has much more self-confidence.
People love to tell us what to do. That's just 'cause they're jealous of me and you. We're taking cabs 'cause both our cars are trashed, but we're still kicking ass. Someday we'll cut our critics down to size. crash a ditty party in disguise. We fall, but then we rise. We are Trainwrecks.
Granted, I guess you could just as easily interpret that as being deluded and self-indulgent.
Because remember, no one understands you.
But the singer of this song hasn't completely counted themselves out yet. I mean, okay, maybe it is a lost cause, we don't know. Maybe this guy is really just a world-class A1 Scott Weiland style fuck-up, who knows? But god damn it, he's gonna at least try. He's going to at least make an attempt to make things better for himself. You know, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. It's inspiring. It makes you want to reflect on your own shortcomings and just say, you know what, maybe I'm not the best. Maybe I'm not the brightest, but god damn it, I deserve to be happy, and I'm gonna at least try.
And to just push that song over the edge into stellar territory, it's a love song. Or at least it can be interpreted as one. This song could have easily just have been titled Trainwreck and been about one person, but the simple tweak of making it a plural adds a whole new dynamic to the song. By saying that we're Trainwrecks as opposed to I'm a train wreck, it gives the protagonist a character to complement them. Even if it is small, a comrade in arms to share their experiences and potentially help them along the way. And if this character should fall and never rise above their status, well, then at least the two of them have each other. It's kind of comforting just in and of itself.
Dare I say it? It's kind of sweet. I mean, okay, maybe they are just stumbling ass over tea kettle into the sunset, but at least they're stumbling together, you know? What's happening to the guy at the end of Beverly Hills? Oh dear. So yeah, I guess if there's one big thing I can recommend about this album, it would be this track. It's just a treasure of a song that you probably didn't hear from an album that you probably didn't buy. I mean, it's just... If you take nothing else away from my review here, I say at least take this song. Go stream it, go buy it, whatever you want to do. Just find this song and listen to it. If you want a Weezer song that will actually pick you up and actually make you feel good, I say this is the one. In my book at least, this song is the one.
Aw, thanks, dude.
Yeah. Now let's talk about how this album kinda sucks.
Aw, dude. Harsh.
I'm sorry, little guy, but that's what the people come to see.
To help us better wrap our heads around this, I think we need to fully comprehend the album's production. Whipped out in 11 months. Guys, in some places, it really shows. Like in, just for example, the name and fucking cover! Oh, dude. Extra harsh. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always nice to see Jorge Garcia getting work, but this has to be one of the laziest goddamn covers I've ever seen. Not quite White Album lazy, but still, it's up there. This was literally just a photo taken backstage at a Lopez Tonight taping. Oh god, does anybody remember that pile of crap?
Oprah filled every seat in a basketball arena. Next year, the Clippers should change their name to the Oprahs.
But still, why Hurley? Was it just to capitalize on the end of the show? Given how that show ended, I certainly hope not.
Where are we, Dad?
Well, this is a place that you all made together so that you could find one another.
What the fuck is this shit?
I harp on about the cover so much because it perfectly summarizes the biggest issue with this album. It's rushed. Even for all its strengths, it feels like an album that was pushed kicking and screaming out the door. Again, I'm not really sure why they did this. Maybe they went into damage control mode after Raditude? I would say maybe there was pressure from their label, but they were dropped by Geffen. And I don't think Epitaph would have asked for an album an entire month after signing them.
And yeah, I know that most labels are run by sadistic, evil, stupid, villainous, go fucking bastards. We all know that. But I don't think anyone would have been that sadistic. Especially not the guys who gave us Social D, Alkaline Trio, and Bad Religion. Come on, they'd know better. But yeah, this album does feel strangely incomplete in places. Like, say for example... Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I haven't pulled this one out in a while. Here, give me a minute.
No solos!
I mean, well...
One solo, but it's very weak and forgettable, and the song that it's on is one of the worst in the album!
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what
Yep. One solo. That's all we get. Granted, Raditude wasn't exactly rife with lead work either, but at least we got more than one. And the song in question... yeah, it's not exactly a gem. The verses are nothing but fuzzy-sounding synths and simple snare and hi-hat tapping. The chorus is powerful and kinda catchy, but nothing stellar. And again, the solo? It's not bad by any means, but it isn't exactly memorable.
I would say this is definitely one of the weaker tracks on the album, and it certainly isn't helped by the lyrics.
Where did all these smart girls come from? I don't think that I could choose just one.
Well, I thought you did choose just one. You know, your wife. And before you harp me out on that, yes, this song is literally about how Rivers is surrounded by beautiful women every day, but he can't do anything about it, guys. My heart, it pines for thee, Mr. Cuomo. Wait a minute, I have a real violin. Wait a minute, I can't play the real violin. Shit. Oh, sweet Christ, this song just became Mambo number 5.
A little bit of reason, little bit of teenage Hennessy, little bit of Sandra in the sand, little bit of Mary, cuckoo.
On a bus, on a train, on a boat, on a plane, I'm falling in love. What was your name?
I would fuck smart girls in a bar. I would fuck smart girls in a car. I would fuck smart girls anywhere. This song's fucking stupid and I no longer care.
Yeah, this track is way too dopey to be on this album. It kind of feels like a leftover track from the Raditude sessions. Maybe they just couldn't have two songs about wanting to cheat on your spouse on one album. I don't know. But this song definitely doesn't fit here, and it isn't the only little dip into the stupid pool we take. Take Where's My Sex, for example.
Oh dear God, another song about sex from Weezer. Look, the band can write a good song about sex. They can. Fucking half of Pinkerton is about sex, but after 2005, it seems like the band can't seem to tackle this subject with any depth or maturity or fucking anything. I don't know, let's give it a try. I mean, it can't possibly be that bad, can it?
I made my sex, she knitted it with her hands.
What the fuck?
Sex making is a family tradition.
Ooh, what the fuck?
Brother, sister, got time. I got no sex, I'm a beat.
Okay, that does it. Abort mission! Abort mission! Code red! Code red! We have gone full flowers in the attic, people! Game over, man! Game over!
Okay. What the fuck? fuck is this noise? Apart from the "oh dear God, why" moments, the other lyrics in the song don't make any goddamn sense. And not in that cutesy Hashpipe way either. Hashpipe was famously written after Rivers popped a few Ritalin and downed several shots of tequila. This song sounds like it was written after smoking a boulder of Heisenberg Blue Sky, huffing 2 cans of paint thinner, and then drinking those same cans of paint thinner.
But now I'm like a prehistoric screwball, walking around with no sex at all.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
And people will think that I'm an alien just cruising in to make a friend.
Oh no, they won't think you're an alien. Just a sex predator. That's all.
It may be under the rug or stuck in a shoe closet.
How in the fuck?
Or tumbling round in the washing machine. Sex on my feet.
What the fuck?
Sex in my toes.
What the fuck?
Sex in my shoes.
What the fuck?
Sex on the floor.
What the? Well, I guess this could actually work.
I mean, what the hell is this song about? No, on second thought, I don't want to know. I don't even want to think about it. This is creepier than Girl Got Hot. Creepier than I'm Your Daddy. This is an atomic bomb made up of pervy mustaches and restraining orders.
I'm not even gonna dwell on this. No fucking way, man. I don't even want to know what drives a man to write such horrible, vile, shrieking depravity. I won't do it. I will not do it. No. No, I won't do it. Okay! God damn it, it's my job! I have to understand why in the hell this song was written. What the hell could this horrible, terrible, rotten, disgusting piece of shit actually be about? It's about socks.
Yeah, apparently the song was written because River's daughter Mia, 3 years old at the time, would accidentally say sex when she was trying to say socks. This song is about how she would lose her socks all the time. It makes much more sense when you fill in the blanks accordingly.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow, I'm kind of an idiot. Knowing all that, this song's actually kind of cute. But wait, I didn't originally know that. I had to look it up. And I doubt many people probably knew the backstory behind this song before they actually listened to it. So how many people, when they first heard this song, probably just thought it was about Rivers wanting to fuck his sister in a washing machine?
So yeah, we have another classic Weezer jokey song. But like a lot of their other jokier works post-Maladroit, this one really doesn't work. See, here's the thing. As much as I bitch out Weezer for some of their less than stellar joke songs,
Mary in a biatch, having 7 kids.
That's fucking stupid!
I do like when they write a good tongue-in-cheeky joke song. I like Hashpipe. I like Dope Nose. I like Undone.
The problem is, this isn't good tongue-in-cheek. It's barely even a joke. It's just replacing one word with another. That's not a joke. That's a Mad Lib.
One day, Crash Thompson went to the store. He needed eggs, milk, and sex. He walked down the bread aisle. It was full of sex. While he was shopping, he met a nice young lady. She talked about bad religion. He talked about sex. Later that day, they went to get coffee at their favorite sex shop. They both got extra sex in their cups. That night, they both went back to Crash's place, where they had lots and lots of ice cream.
Oh, go sex yourself, narrator.
Said Crash Thompson.
Well, okay, I do have to admit it did make me titter a bit once I realized what the song was actually about, and humor is strictly subjective, so if the song made you giggle, then I've already lost my argument here. But it is a stupid, paint-drinkingly stupid song. At best, it might be a guilty pleasure, but if someone caught you listening to this, you would probably be embarrassed as all hell. Unless they were a cop, then they'd probably just drag your ass to county. But still, this is another weak moment that this album sorely does not need.
Again, though, both of these songs could simply be attributed to the fact that the album was rushed. I mean, every track on this album, even the good ones, exhibit a certain lack of polish. I mean, that's why I'm not doing a track-by-track review on this one, because some of the songs just seem to have the same general problem. They're underdeveloped.
I mean, given that Raditude was way too polished, I can kind of understand why they would want to take this approach, but to take it to this degree was kind of overkill. And a lot of the other songs on the album I haven't mentioned, like Runaway and Time Flies, are kind of hard to talk about because they feel very generic. There just isn't much to them. And there's an element of wasted potential that goes hand in hand with that. None of these songs, even the bad ones, are god-festeringly fuck-awful, but even the good ones, with the exception of Trainwrecks, don't really stand out all that much. With a little more time in the oven, these songs could have probably been killer. It's like when you're baking cookies and you take them out too soon. They're all goopy and doughy in the middle. They aren't done yet. They need more time. Granted, some people actually prefer them that way. Hell, some people eat the dough straight out of the fucking tub.
Well, I never said I wasn't a hypocrite, now did I? Go ahead and judge me all you like. 90% of you do this.
But in this instance, I think more time to hone the sound would have done a tremendous amount of good. Even the special edition tracks are pretty solid. I Wanna Be Something and Represent are really catchy little numbers. I actually recommend picking up the special edition just to get those tracks alone. But one of the other special edition songs is literally from Yo Gabba Gabba.
He's colorful and wonderful, his wings are strong and powerful. He's a dragonfly.
I can never unsee that.
And the other is just a cover of
I used to rule the world.
What the fuck?
Okay, that's not a cover. Viva La Vida is a song that requires a strong vocal performance, lots of orchestral and string flourishes. It's a big song and it needs a big delivery. This is just Weezer's karaoke version of it.
But all of that withstanding, even for its faults, this album isn't really all that bad. It could have been much better, in my opinion, but it certainly isn't the worst thing they've ever released, not by a long shot. Hell, I'm almost tempted to say this deserves a place next to Maladroit as one of those hidden gems in their catalog. You know, it's a decent piece that you probably haven't listened to. I mean, it's aged a lot better than most late-era Weezer, you gotta give it that. So, I mean, even though it is flawed, I have to admit, I kinda like this album.
Wait, hang on, dude, I'm confused.
What's up, little man?
This series is called The Rise and Fall of Weezer, right, dude?
Yes.
But you just said you liked me.
Well, yeah, you're alright. You're not bad.
So, like, where's the fall?
Yeah, that. Well, here's the thing, little guy. Even though you're an okay piece of music, you were just way too little, way too late.
Hurley is a decent album, but after Raditude, Weezer didn't need decent. They needed a supermassive spirit bomb fuck-off sized joy cake of an album. An album to shake off the funk of that horrible stinker. People, I'm not even exaggerating here when I say that Raditude was so awful, it fucked other albums by proxy.
If Raditude had never happened, if they'd have just followed up the Red Album with Hurley, then I seriously think we wouldn't be talking about Weezer in such apocalyptic terms today. I mean, that's the thing. They just kept building up disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. That by the time this album came around, there was just so much weight on it, so much pressure to be good, and it just doesn't have the strength to carry it. It doesn't. I mean, after Raditude, guys, a lot of people were done with this band, including me. Guys, I have a bit of a confession to make here. Raditude was the last album I bought from Weezer. I didn't even hear Hurley until much, much later, streaming it on Spotify. I still haven't actually purchased a hard copy of this album. I mean, Raditude was just so soul-crushing, Raditude hit us right here, man. I was done. A lot of us were done after that album. I mean, say whatever you want, but my God, that was a hard one to take. I mean, just play devil's advocate with me here. Put yourself in my shoes for a minute here, okay?
You're a 9-year-old kid that randomly heard Buddy Holly on MTV one day, loved it, and rode your bike to Kmart so you could pick up the cassette version for $9.99. It quickly becomes one of your favorite albums, and as you grow up and expose yourself to new music, it somehow stays in your top 3 favorites. The band continues to release gorgeous, wonderful, interesting music, and as you grow, the band grows with you. And then one day, make-believe happens. But everyone else seems to like it, so you think nothing of it. Maybe it just isn't your cup of tea, or maybe it just hasn't gotten to you yet. Maybe with time it'll change your mind, but you remain optimistic and wait for the next big Weezer album to come out and knock your socks off all over again. Then Red Album happens. But even it still has some good songs on it, so you hang on to your hopes that Weezer is just going through a really dry spell. You cling to the hope that they can't possibly make 3 big mistakes in a row. They just can't. It isn't possible. They're too good for that. And then Raditude happens.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Some people wonder why the hell I went Super Saiyan in the last episode. It's actually a reference to a direct quote that I said to one of my best friends the first time I heard that album. My exact words were, "I wish I were a Super Saiyan so I could blast this fucker into oblivion.
You can't become a Super Saiyan just by increasing your power level. I've told you it doesn't work like that. The power comes in response to a need, not a desire. You have to create that need.
I needed that album to burn.
Now, bearing all that in mind, how on earth are you supposed to take this album that came out in less than a year with a lazy, shitty, lazy cover seriously? I mean, call me cynical if you like, guys, but I was so not the only one here. Hurley's sales were abysmal. It was way too soon to be releasing this thing. Those that weren't alienated were just confused. I know a lot of people who didn't buy this album simply because they didn't even think it was a real album. They thought it was a B-sides compilation or a collection of demos. I mean, the cover alone is so bad that other sites like Amazon and Spotify actually use a picture of the entire jewel case when displaying album art. Just to let you know that, hey, this is an album, not Jorge Garcia's 8x10 glossy, just so you know.
And apart from the audience reaction, the album wasn't promoted for shit either.
Hurley only had one video released, and it was for the song Memories. Now, this was around the time when music videos started really going out of style. Back then, and even today really, if your video doesn't go viral, then nobody's gonna see it. The video for Memories is just a montage of the band members goofing around with the Jackass guys. It's nothing to get excited about.
And at the risk of pissing some people off, Memories itself isn't really a song worth getting that excited about. Oh, please let me explain before you crucify me. Pretty please?
I mean, it's not a terrible song or anything. The chorus is catchy and it makes for a good live track, I guess. But it isn't terrific either. It's one of those generic feeling songs like Runaway and Time Flies. There isn't much here to get excited for. And of course, it has some lyrical eccentricities.
Audio Slave? Wow, there's a name I haven't heard in years. Maybe I should consider covering them once I finish this series. But getting back to things, yeah, dated references dated. Yeah, I know that's kind of the point, but we don't even have Audio Slave around anymore, so... So, you're longing to see Dutch kids puke on each other while fucking? I honestly wish that were the weirdest sexual fantasy you've made us privy to, Rivers. I really wish it were. I mean, don't misinterpret me here, guys. It's not a bad song. Not at all, really. It's just... okay. It's very okay. I mean, it doesn't do much for me personally, at least. And the thing is, like, especially considering some of the other tracks on this album, it seems a little lackluster to be the album's first and only single.
To a lot of people, this song was the only taste of Hurley they got. And most of them didn't even watch this video. Hell, I know I first heard the song at the end credits to Jackass 3D. And the problem there is, on that version, the Jackass guys are singing along with the chorus. And...
The memories, how can we make it back there, back there? I want to be there again.
No offense meant to them or anything, but some of the Jackass guys can barely speak, let alone carry a tune. I think Steve-O's rap album is proof enough of that.
I'm always on the prowl for a real trashy slut that's begging for my dick to go right up her butt. Ha! When it's time to nut, I glue her fucking eyes shut.
In all fairness, the album did score much better with critics this time out, but the damage was already done. Nobody cared, nobody bought this album, and Weezer has never been able to fully recover from it. The band, in the eyes of many, is a shell of what they once were. The humble, nebbishy little guys that brought us El Scorcho, The Sweater Song, and Island in the Sun had devolved into something almost completely unrecognizable and much more cynical.
I said something at the very beginning of this series, something that has drawn a lot of criticism. But I meant what I said back then, and I still mean it today. We need to break up. Forgive me, I misspoke. What I meant to say was you need to break up.
Oh no!
And the reason that I said that? The band just isn't fun anymore. And from what it sounds like, the band isn't having much fun themselves either.
Constantly changing their formula, trying to reach audiences that don't care about them, having other people write their songs, play their instruments for them, releasing yearly albums as if the music of Weezer could be mass-produced like a freaking Saw movie. Guys, it isn't fun anymore. It used to be fun. It used to be a hell of a lot of fun. But those days, they might be gone for good. If we aren't having fun listening to it, and the band isn't having fun making the music, well, then why go on?
Guys, I love this band. I wouldn't spend this ungodly amount of time ranting and raving about them if I didn't genuinely care. I mean, there are bad bands out there. You know, there's Nickelback, Hinder, Immure. I wouldn't go on such a tirade over them. They don't deserve it. They suck. They've always sucked. They're probably always gonna suck. But Weezer isn't supposed to suck. Not like this. I mean, I know it's hard. It's hard for me to say this, but if there's no more fun to be had, if making the music is nothing more than a chore for the band, and listening to it is no more than a chore for us, then maybe it's time we hung up our lightning straps and walked off into the sunset.
We haven't really heard much from the Weezer camp since that album's release, and we don't have much of a clue as to what, if anything, is next for the band. So maybe it would just be better to call it a day. I know it's sad, but here's the thing, guys. This is the thing we have to strive to remember. No matter how bad the bad music may be, it can never take away from the good. Albums like Blue, Pinkerton, and Maladroit will always be there. And even if the band does release another shitty album, it can never tarnish the memories of the good music that touched our hearts, touched our souls, inspired us to pick up instruments, spurred conversations with new people, helped kindle friendships, romances, and even relationships. The music that touches us lives on through us. And if Weezer releases a million Raditudes, it won't make a dent in the heart of that boy or girl who listens to In the Garage and can't help but shed a tear. Because it speaks to them. It is them. Good music becomes a part of us when we take it in. And as long as it has a space within our hearts, nothing can take it away from us.
I didn't write this series to close the book on Weezer. I wrote it to help keep the pot stirring. Because even through the good, the bad, and the ugly that this band has put us through, I still think they're great. And they merit discussion. Their music, even when it's been terrible, has at least been worthy of discussing. It's been worthy of analysis. Their music evokes so much passion, whether it be positive or negative. And I think that's worth looking into. I think that's totally worth keeping alive. And you know what? Whether you agree, disagree, whatever, with anything I've said here, if I've inspired you to just think about the band, reminisce on the songs that you enjoyed in your youth, or if I piqued your curiosity to check out some of their back catalog, even the stuff that I didn't like, if I've got you to think about this band again, and to spark a few memories here or there, then my job is done here. My mission is accomplished. Because Weezer is a great band. And if they never come back from this, then, well, then at least we'll still be talking about them. And I think they deserve at least that. You know what? Call me crazy. Just go ahead and do it. But I don't think this is it for them. I mean, I know we haven't heard from them in a really long time and things look kind of bleak, but I still think there might be hope. God help me. I mean, who says this has to be the end, you know? I mean, I still believe, perhaps naively, that Weezer can still amaze us. I wholeheartedly think they can. Like, if they knuckle down, give 110%, and just pour themselves out on the page like they were so good at doing back in the day, then I think they can still amaze us. I think they still have it in them. Even after all of this, I still believe in Weezer. Maybe I'm just a dumbass, but there's just a little part of me, just somewhere in the corner of my heart, that believes that maybe, just maybe, everything will be alright in the end. Who the hell would knock on my patio window? What the hell? God damn it, it was in the middle of one of my most passionate, heartfelt monologues ever. And some jagoff has the cojones to come and knock on my... Oh my...
Take me back to the shack, back to the spot with the lightning strap. Kicking the door, more hardcore, rocking out like it's 94. Let's turn up the radio, turn off those stupid singing shows.
Holy shit, that's a long fucking title. Jesus Christ.